I'm Kirby.
And I'm Hart. Welcome to Kirby and Hart Online.
I think I say, welcome to Kirby and Hart Online.
This is a podcast where Kirby, someone who's terminally online, teaches me, someone who's chronically off the internet, all about it.
So let's get to it. Okay. So should we... oh, wait. First, I think we should tell them, we haven't been doing the podcast in a while.
Right.
And there's, we never said goodbye or on a pause or anything, so we should probably tell them why.
Yeah.
And then also the plan going forward, which we don't really have, but we kind of do.
Okay.
You say the why, and I'll say the plan.
Okay. I'm not sure I know the plan, so I'm glad there's a plan. Okay, so the why is that we did not mean to go on hiatus. We actually were thinking we would maybe close out season 1 and then have a restructured season 2. But then I started grad school and it was 100% way harder than I thought it would be. My life just went totally in a different new direction, which obviously was the plan with starting grad school. But I did not factor in. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I thought it was going to be fine and I could continue as before because I had a lot of free time. So I thought grad school would just slot right in and honestly be good character building for me. And turns out it's been, I've been busier than I thought.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's why. And so we apologize to our listening public. And also I apologize to you, Kirby. I just had no idea.
No, it's no big deal. I wouldn't know how it was to do school and work and everything. So yeah, it's a lot. But the plan is that we're going to put out 2 episodes, and then we're going to figure out what's next.
Yes,
and then maybe that's a season 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a new structure. But there might be another gap after these 2 episodes. But we'll at least put out these 2 for the time being.
Yeah, and this is just our regular old shtick. Yeah. Except
we have a guest.
A special guest.
Yes. Meagan.
Meagan is a fiber artist of great repute. She's a weaver, and she's also, if you're interested in learning to weave or learning other textile arts, she teaches workshops in the Chicago area. Additionally, she's a trained interior designer and currently works in custom furniture fabrication, which as a result we've all learned a lot about, and it's really interesting. There's a lot you don't know about. You walk into an office building and you're there's a bunch, a big corporate office building, there'll be these massive planters and a wall installation. That's custom work, and it's all done by these boutique fabricators and designers. And Meagan works in that industry. It's really really interesting. And Meagan, we've known Meagan since kindergarten, so.
Okay, so should we get on to this episode?
Yes.
First, we're starting with just some niche celebrity gossip that we have found on the internet recently. I think all 3 of these stories are niche enough that they aren't getting headlines anywhere. And when we found, or maybe Megan's is a little bit
starting to now,
but the 2 that I'm gonna say, you would have to be on Reddit and find this random thread to get this information, and it's just ooh, this is good gossip. So we gotta chat about it.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Platt Molly Gordon friendship breakup.
Oh, sad.
This is a short one.
Okay, so you know who they are.
No.
We had to cut that laugh. Okay. Do you know who Ben Platt is?
That sounds so familiar. Is that a musician?
No, he's an actor / singer / musical theater artist.
Is he SpongeBob?
No, that's Ethan Slater. But good guess.
Okay.
I'm sure they're friends.
I don't know him. Okay, so I've heard that name for sure.
He's from Dear Evan Hansen. He was the original Evan Hansen. He's in Pitch Perfect. He was in The Politician, that TV show. And then recently he did a movie with his best friends, produced and acted in the movie Theater Camp last summer. Okay. Did you see that?
No.
Okay,
but you recommended it. I really meant to see it. Okay. I can't believe that was a year ago.
Well, yeah, I know it was the Barbieheimer. That's how. When I was writing this out, I was it was the Barbieheimer year. When was that? I was oh my god, just a year ago.
The ravages of time.
But you not seeing that movie will make this less sad to you.
Yeah, it is. But I was sad.
Well, I'll just give I'll just start from the beginning so you can understand like why this is like friendship breakups happen all the time. Why is this one
But
rocking the internet, which it's only rocking the corners of the internet that know about it because it's so obscure and not public that like you have to have. I'll show you how I came upon it. Okay. So first of all, they have been. Oh, wait, well, let me just say who both of them are. We said who Ben Platt is, and he's from California. His dad is also a producer, so he's been also famous for like Nepo baby drama. Like, remember when that cover came out? What was it, Vulture or something? And it was like the Nepo baby cover. Do you remember that?
I remember talking about Nepo babies, but I don't
Google
remember
this
the cover.
Because it's important. Oh, well, just it's such a cultural moment.
Was he on the cover with his friend Emily Platt? No, Emily.
No. I don't know who you're talking about.
I think it's
Molly Gordon.
No,
but she is a covert Nepo baby, but people don't know who her parents
I
are.
didn't know that.
Well, and she's just not famous enough. Well, she is kind of recently. She's recently become famous. Search Nepo baby cover. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Ben Platt because there's a lot of them on it. So it's the baby one, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So people were
so
like,
funny.
It is very funny, but for the people
really
who were on the
this.
cover, I think it was like a bit hard.
Sure, offensive, obviously,
and
but
so
clever.
I'm like kind of a Ben Platt fan. People hate him, so like I am saying this from like a kind of bias. I think people are too hard on him standpoint. He's really talented, and I'm like always been a fan of all of his work, so that's why I defend him. But like
this, you would hate this.
When
you seen this? Oh my gosh, Meagan hates it.
I actually had it. Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
I
So like, here's the thing.
I had not seen that. I was thinking of
admits
something
that he's a Nepo baby all the time. Like I literally just heard him in an interview even just say like, well, in my Nepo baby beginnings, like he's not like denying it, but when asked about it on what's that like big whatever, he was asked about it in an interview and about the cover, and he like shut down the interview, and it was kind of shortly after Dear Evan Hansen the movie came out, which is when he was getting like
he like shut down the interview, like he left.
Yeah, he shut it down because he didn't want to talk about that cover, and then people were roasting him even more, being like, he can't admit that he's a Nepo baby. He got Dear Evan Hansen made for him because his dad like was the producer and like made the movie for him kind of so to be in, and so like he just got roasted. But like I've heard him speak about it so much, I just think the cover is like a sensitive topic, like the cover of that magazine. It's not that he doesn't like admit that he's a Nepo baby, and he actually goes over the top, and maybe he learned from that experience and that's why, but like in recent interviews he like will flat out tell you before you can even get there, like kind of. So he's not the person that people make him out, but good lord, the internet is so mean to him. And I'm a fan of him.
I had heard some criticism of the Evan Hansen movie from my mom. Well, there's two lines of criticism. Number one, my dad was extremely mad at my mom for taking him to that movie.
Your dad?
He does not like to see sad movies.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a Lou movie.
Yeah, he was really mad. And number two, that he was old. That he was like not a high school student.
So that's the thing. Like he looks awful in it, and like that was a misstep. But I think if you can get past it, like it's not a bad movie in the way that people talk about it. People say it's like the worst movie ever. I'm like, actually, yeah, he looks bad, but if you are blinded to that, the movie's not that bad. I mean, it's not amazing.
Fine. I mean, it's a musical
They
movie.
sing live and they sound great, and like I think the story's great. I know some people think it's problematic, but I think that's bullshit. Like. Yeah, he's a flawed person. That's the whole point of the story. But anyway, we were really going on a tangent, which we're not supposed to do.
Oh, right.
Point is, so we know who Ben Platt is. We know how the internet feels about Ben Platt. This is Ben Platt. And then Molly Gordon, she's also from LA, and I guess she's also a Nepo baby, but maybe her parents aren't like big, like as famous or whatever. And she also wasn't as famous until recently. But they've been best friends since they were like very little, doing theater together in LA.
All is well.
Doing theater together in LA, and like grew up together. They've been best friends since they were little. Okay, so then we're gonna enter two more people to the story. So and then there's Nick Lieberman, who also grew up with them and did theater with them in high school, and it's rumored that him and Molly have been together for like forever, like dating, but like they never like put it on Instagram or anything. I'm like, if you've been with someone since you were like a teenager, wouldn't you why would you be so covert about it? You weren't even famous for most of this time.
Right, like when you have accidentally put it on
Instagram
before you're trying.
It's very weird, but they were together. That it seems maybe they weren't together for a long time. They were just friends, and then they were together once they were already. Molly was already a tiny bit famous at that point, so she wanted to be. I don't know.
But
it's
don't
a weird
you put your friends?
What?
Wouldn't you have put him as your friend?
Oh yeah, but sure they did. They did that. Also, Nick had posted photos of Molly from a long time ago that make it. You could tell on his Instagram that probably they were together, but she just never did really. Or maybe they did before she was famous and she deleted them or something. But anyway, So they've been together, and like all three of them were best friends. And then when they're like 19 years old, living in New York, Molly and Nick meet Noah Galvin, who I'm a big fan of. He's a like comedian, Broadway star as well. He was like replaced Ben and Dear Evan Hansen way later, years later, on Broadway. He's been in a bunch of like, he was in this, do you remember that show, The Real O'Neills? When he was like 19 years old, he was on this sitcom about like a family in the suburbs of Chicago, and he like comes out, and they're like super Catholic, and he comes out in the first episode, and it's very funny sitcom, very underrated. Anyway, so that's what he's from. So Molly and Nick introduced Ben and Noah when they're like 19, all on the same night this happened. They've told this story so many times. Like Molly and Nick introduced the two of them. They had an on and off romance, Noah and Ben, for like years and years and years, until in 2020 they like finally just like got together officially, and then they got engaged like a year ago.
Okay.
Then also in 2023, Nick, Molly, Noah, and Ben all made the movie Theater Camp together, and all of them starred in it except for Nick, and they like directed, wrote it, everything. Hilarious movie, we all love it. They obviously collaborate well together.
Wait, just a pause to review the characters.
Yeah.
So Molly is really good friends with Ben. Molly's is dating Nick,
who's also good friends with Ben.
And they have a fourth friend.
Yes.
Named
Noah.
Who
they met later, like 19, as opposed to younger.
So much later.
Yeah. And all four of them are besties, and Nick and it seemed like eventually Molly and Nick were together, and Noah and Ben were together.
Okay, so they're like double dating, going bowling, whatever.
Exactly, except for Nick and Noah Ben and Noah have always been very public about their relationship, or since they got together officially, they've been public about it. And I would say together as a couple, they're more famous. Like no one knows who Nick is until Theater Camp, really.
Okay.
So that helps them be like more, And also Molly wasn't really talked about until Theater Camp. I mean, I know she was in that Rachel Sennett movie, Shiva Baby, but like that was just like small. Like she wasn't really talked about. She was kind of like Ben Platt's best friend, to be honest. Like not to be rude, she's really talented and beautiful. And then she got on The Bear.
So, who is she on The Bear?
Claire Bear.
Oh.
Wait, was that after?
Okay, so maybe that was before Theater Camp. That's probably when she started getting talked about.
Because I knew her basically from The Bear.
Okay,
and then we saw Theater Camp, and I was like, okay, I know who that is.
My
because
bad.
I had seen her.
I got the order
But it's very
confused.
close. I mean,
it was all around the same time.
I think it was the same. I think it was last year too.
Yeah, exactly. The first season of The Bear. So she's like a character that people don't really like on The Bear.
She's like the hot love interest.
Yeah,
is it because they ship him with?
Exactly.
Which I am
it's just
not,
the internet.
We don't need to go down this road, but I don't ship that.
Y'all have to say complete sentences for the listening audience.
So there's a lot of people on the internet who are just fangirls, and they love Jeremy Allen White, as we've talked about before, and they love his character Carmi with Io Debris' character Sydney. They're like Sid Carmi shippers. These two characters never get together in the show. Spoiler alert.
And frankly, I don't think have chemistry like that.
It's a bad idea.
People really think that Claire and Carmi do not have chemistry.
I think they have really good chemistry.
And they also
Sydney should be with Marcus. Just saying.
Okay,
that was cute. But we don't need to go off this. Anyway.
I don't care either way, but I do think Sydney and Carmi have more chemistry. I don't think they should be together, but I do think they have more just like natural chemistry. Even if it's just as friends.
I mean, yes, I think they have friend chemistry. I just don't think.
And I do kind of see the Claire thing, but I haven't even seen the latest season, so.
Well, I don't understand. I just think Claire's a poorly written character.
I think that's what everyone complains.
Yeah, she's just like
the non-fangirls. That's their criticism. Is like manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
Okay. So yeah, that's fair. So anyway, that's when she gets a little bit more famous. Okay, where are we now?
Okay, I'm glad I can actually picture someone in this.
The first
one person.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, all right, so Theater Camp comes out. They're doing all this press together in the summer of 2023. They're talking about how all four of them are like best friends. It's so great to make a movie with your best friends from forever. Noah and Ben talk about how Molly and Nick introduced them and like blah, 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 blah. So then we get to, I would say, actually, first I'll just say, over this spring, so you know how Jeremy Allen White was with Rosalia? We talked about this last time. There's also rumors that he's with Molly Gordon.
From the story, yes.
Yes.
I thought that was confirmed.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying in the spring. There's rumors that he's with...
Okay.
Yeah. So there's rumors that he's with Molly Gordon, but like they're kind of just like simmering, but then he goes to a concert with Rosalia again. Things are getting confusing. That's all happening, and then Noah and in September of this year, Noah and Ben have their wedding, and Vogue does like post all the photos from it with like little captions and stuff. And by the way, you should look this up because it's like the coolest wedding ever. Like the design's missing. I actually have the article up if we want to turn. So actually this first photo is the main photo that's evidence.
Show him. I'll look on my phone.
Okay, so this first photo, I don't think they show the caption here because it'll be down further. But basically this first photo, the caption is us with our chosen family. And when I saw this, I looked and I was like, where the fuck is Molly Gordon? I'm like, I know all these people, but Molly Gordon is not here.
What's so funny is I was like, oh, there's Molly Gordon. Oh, actually, there's Molly Gordon. In fact, she is not in this photo.
You know.
Does she have sisters? They look a lot like her.
Is
a lot of pretty Jewish girls, okay?
Is this the photo we're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just to make sure.
So, Catherine Gallagher, that's
so funny. Now I see why you thought they were Molly Gordon.
What's his name? What's the Peter Gallagher's daughter from the OC? Yep. That's her. Sorry, I just wanted to
she looks like him off the OC.
She does. Anyway, and sorry, that's Nick Lieberman, who was with Molly. Obviously, now we're hearing Molly is with Jeremy Allen White, so people are assuming that Nick and Molly broke up.
Okay. Well, he's a lot more regular looking than Jeremy Allen White's like a movie star type of.
What? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Whatever.
Like, culturally, we've accepted him as hot.
Yeah.
And I like that narrative because sometimes people think I look like him.
Okay. So, well, I noticed it, and no one on the internet told me about this falling out. I was like, what the fuck happened? I go to Molly's Instagram page. She's in Milan Film Festival, but she doesn't have a movie. She's just there with a brand that weekend. And I'm like, you missed your best friend's wedding to go to a film festival that you don't have a movie in for a brand. Something's up here. So I rushed to Reddit, and other people have noticed as well.
Okay.
Just a couple people on the Broadway subreddit and a couple people on the FOMOA subreddit. And we're all trying to gather evidence. What the fuck is happening? People do notice that Ben and Noah unfollowed Molly on Instagram.
Gosh. Okay.
Let me just show you some of the other photos really quick. We can cut this part, but... Oh, but I do have to get to a photo that's important. Oh, it wasn't a photo of them together. That's why I was confused. Also, it was way later. Okay. Oh. Anyway, read the caption.
Okay. So what I'm looking at is a picture of Nick. He looks happy. Yay. And he looks like he might be wet, but maybe sweaty.
Yeah, there was a post-dance. Yeah.
Our first shared best friend and collaborator, and the only person who loved the wedding weekend more than us, writer/director Nick Lieberman.
Dang. I just like the singularity of our first shared best friend and collaborator. There's clearly a person missing.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
It's just a photo so clear. Wow, they really are pissed at her.
The only person.
They're erasing her from their life.
I know.
Wow.
I'm letting you see the severity of this because I'm like, it's not just a friendship breakup. Like, this is tough.
It's also harsh.
I feel kind of like...
It's like she wronged Nick.
Because, do you think that, so here's the thing, no one knows. I don't think it can just be that. Like, I don't think they just chose Nick's side so maybe she cheated on him, but like, that's not enough for them to cut her off completely.
To me, no.
But I think
not
that's
your
part
friend.
of it.
And Nick didn't even unfollow her on Instagram.
Interesting.
I mean, it's, okay, so to me, the severity of this is like, illustrated by the fact that like, this is literally mean. Like that's like a mean, like the meanest thing.
What if she decided to miss their wedding? Like, we don't know what she
right.
did.
She maybe was like, I'm not going, and they're like, okay, well, you should have come. You're our best friend, and now it is a big deal to miss someone's wedding.
Also, if they ever make up, she will never have been to that wedding, and like that's just so sad.
Yeah. So maybe they uninvited her and they were mad before. Maybe she decided to not go because she's like, things are too tense with me and Nick, and he should have something because now I'm dating like a movie star.
That's her best friend.
No, and maybe they're really mad and they're like, oh well, awkwardness is awkwardness. Like, get over it. Nick said he would come, like, and maybe they're mad for that reason.
Maybe. I feel like there's so many possibilities, and there's also a possibility that there's something that happened that none of us fucking know about. Okay, there was a user who claimed to have gone to Molly Gordon's high school who posted a very specific,
Oh, sweet Jesus. If we ever get famous, who do you think it would be in our high school posting about us?
Did I not link to it?
Did I have enemies? Did I have enemies?
Did you have enemies? No.
I mean, I wasn't perfect.
Sure. No one's perfect.
Honestly, God, what was her name? That English teacher. Oh,
Well, you might have had teacher enemies, but I don't think those people aren't going to post. They might post about you on Facebook, but nobody's going to see
Oh,
it.
Miss.
Well, my God. She had...
You did not have enemies.
Yes.
If you did...
I literally was told in my review this year at work, Meagan has no known enemies. I was like, that's such a crazy thing to say. Also, I have like a lot of one-sided enemies at work, I feel like.
Yeah, they just don't know they're your
They
enemies.
just don't know that they're my enemies.
Also, that makes it seem like you work at like... Meagan works in a gladiator dungeon. Like, what?
I really love that part. That was a real good takeaway from my annual review.
No known enemies.
No known enemies.
I love the idea that people's annual reviews involve like a listing of known enemies and being like, "Do you have anyone that you'd like to update us?"
Yeah,
as an
your
enemy
known enemies
now?"
list.
This might be too hard to find. I'm
It's
really
okay.
sad. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just try and remember. Okay, basically they said they went to Crossroads with Molly Gordon, and there was another celebrity too. So they were comparing like how they were. And I can't remember who it was, but someone very famous who also went to Crossroads at the same time. This
Is
like
that a high school?
It's a high school in LA. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Is it a church as well?
she
Or
was.
cult?
This person said that she was like a bully. She that she would like if this person got a part in the musical that Molly didn't think that she should have gotten, and she was just like very stubby and thought she was like the best and like blah blah blah. And they said that she would like. She used the way she got herself the fame was like using people like Ben Platt's dad to get parts early on.
I mean, okay, if true, we're talking about someone like a child. Well, I mean
that part's more that person's making a leap. Obviously,
Okay.
that's their own opinion. That
Okay.
she used it anyway. Whatever. That was the high school post.
Okay.
Well, okay. So here's some of the other things: is that of how the internet's reacting. Some people think like so. There's been paparazzi photos of Jeremy Allen White and I almost say Claire and Molly recently, and the internet like I feel like normal people on the internet like they're cute together, or there's Rosalia stans who are like being mean and or there's Sid Carmi shippers who also ship Jeremy Allen White and Io who are being mean. Because of the one Cubs video where he's like, there's someone took a video of them at a Cubs game and he's like rubbing Io's back. They believe that something happened there. These people are delusional, by the way.
I've actually seen that video. It rose to the level that I saw it, and it did not look to me sexual, and in a way that made me disturbed that people would think of that as that kind of. I was like, okay, it looks like he was consoling her or something either like just like
she
a
looked like she had
friendly-
like have anxiety or something
right that's the way you would touch someone if you're like, are you okay? And it's like that is the opposite of like a sexual touch, which is not to say you wouldn't touch someone you're in a romantic relationship with that way, but I was like, you guys, like that's like a little nasty to be like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the other way that the internet is reacting to Jeremy and Molly is like a lot of people in like FOMO will be like, oh wow, they have as much chemistry as their characters do, like because their paparazzi photos. I don't know. How can you tell chemistry from a paparazzi photo?
Also, that man looks the same in every paparazzi photo. So I was like,
he always looks rough. He looks quite rough.
Yeah.
Pretty much always. But yeah, okay, so we have no idea what happened, and that's
which I
what
take
this is.
personally, Kirby.
Okay, but you don't look like you've been smoking cigarettes for days and just like trying your best not to drink something. That's what he looks like.
Also, you're really giving more Adam Brody right now, I would say. Like,
Yeah,
Adam Brody
yeah.
and Nobody Wants This.
And
It's
he
like
looks
way more
healthy.
of your vibe. And he looks healthy and everyone's obsessed. I think you look way more like him.
I've heard that show is offensive to Jewish women. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Can I say one more thing? Obviously, we hope that Jeremy Allen White and Molly Gordon are happy together and
Although he
live
could maybe,
prosperously.
like, if I were his friend, I would maybe be like, be single for a little bit.
Sure, but he doesn't seem like that type.
Yeah.
But I also read an interview about her and him, and she was like talking about him, and the way she was talking about him, I was like, this seems like a really hard way to start a relationship because she like kind of idolized him.
Wait, she talked about him in an interview? I
Yeah.
feel like I would have seen this.
I saw it. It was like I don't know where, but she was saying that
Is she talking about their relationship?
No, she was just talking about him.
Oh.
And, like, how much she looks up to him and thinks he's, like, the greatest actor in a generation and, like, all this stuff. And, like, it's sort of... the interview, it was after they were publicly together, but I think the interview was before they were publicly together.
Yeah.
But
she wasn't talking to him in that way. It was, like, more like as a coworker.
Yeah. Yeah, and what was striking to me about it, I was like, oh, maybe this is not poor writing for the show. Maybe this is their real dynamic. Because in the show, she's just, like, mooning over him and sort of stroking his face all the time. And, like, just, like, I was like, wow, why would this woman be that way? Like, she's, like, a medical person. You know, she's got a lot going on.
Right. Yeah, they make it seem like his job is just so much more stressful and important than hers. And I'm like,
She
she's a
works in
fucking
emergency
doctor.
room or something.
Yeah, emergency room doctor. Like,
Yeah.
I think we could have a whole show about her life.
Right. In fact,
and he would be the side character.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, look, my chef boyfriend I go home to.
Yeah, my depressed chef boyfriend. You know, like, that's... Instead, we've got these long shots of him, like, in the kitchen, doing nothing. And then she comes in and she's like, are you okay? And then she has to go to work. But, and then, yeah, I was like, oh, maybe the director is just making use of their real vibe, which is, like, she really, really, really admires him. Which is, like, cool. But okay.
But they definitely didn't get together until after, or maybe during filming of the most recent seasons.
But, like, okay, right. But, like, wouldn't it be hard to date someone who just idolized you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be, like, a little strange?
Yeah.
For me, I would be like...
Well, Olivia Munn, John Mulaney, I feel like they started like that, but they seem to be healthy now. I kind of like them now. I know that's a hard veer from where I was, like, a year ago.
It is. But that's beautiful because I have a child, so they should work that out for sure. And hopefully Jeremy Allen White and his girl... Oh, my God. And Molly Gordon. I'm sorry. I just learned her name.
Okay. Is the final statements on that one?
Yes.
All right. Meagan, what you got for us?
Okay, so mine is One Tree Hill related,
wow.
Which I know it's a kind of deep cut, but also it's like become fresh again. And I only know about this. I only found this drama because you told me that there was going to be a reboot of One Tree Hill. And I was like, great. I loved that when I was in high school. I love a reboot. Let's check it out. So I start looking it up, and I find out that it's only so far Hillary and
Burton. Oh yeah.
Hillary Burton. It's Hillary Burton Morgan. I was like, what is the final part now? Hillary Burton Morgan. She's married to
Jeffrey.
What's his name? Jeffrey Morgan.
Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Okay.
Let's start. Do we know who that is?
No.
He's probably most famous from The Walking Dead.
He's
I would say
definitely
generally
older than her. That's all I know.
He's a good bit older than her. They met through another cast member.
Oh God, he is so good looking though.
He really is. I feel like, wasn't he in P.S. I Love You? I feel like that's how I know Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh yeah,
like his
he's
name.
Irish.
I always get confused with, no, he's not. But
he's not Irish. Did he play Irish?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in that, right? He's like someone that gets confused with someone else, I think. But I'm pretty sure it was him.
Liam Neeson.
That's not who I was thinking. But he's not as old as Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's pretty old.
After a certain point. Harrison Ford.
No. I think he's younger than both of them. It's like, whatever. It does not
Richard
matter.
Gere.
We really cut you off. This
Okay,
is the
y'all
problem.
are...
This is why these are...
I was gonna say mine's so short. We've already fully derailed, and Jeffrey
You've
Dean
said
Morgan
the name of
has
one person.
nothing to do with this
Two
drama.
people.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
He just married to Hillary.
Okay.
He's married to Hillary Burton. That is totally irrelevant. But context. Okay. So Hillary Burton Morgan and Sophia Bush are like the ones spearheading this reboot. And so everyone is like freaking out, right? Everyone's so excited. They have this whole podcast with Joy Lenz too, like the Drama Queens podcast.
These are
So
the three main stars, of
the
female
show.
stars of
Yes.
One Tree Hill, and then the male stars were Chad Michael Murray and that other guy.
James Lafferty. Wow. How dare you? Such like a not One Tree Hill fan in high school. He aged very well, I will just say.
I haven't seen him forever.
Anyway. Yes. So I'm looking at this reboot, like, let's see who signed on. Assuming that like at least for sure it's gonna be Hillary, Sophia, and Joy all signed on, right? Because they're like doing this podcast together and they're like on, social media as if they're all like besties and everything's great. And then I find out that Joy is not currently affiliated with the reboot because she is apparently feuding with Hillary, which is brand new news to me. Okay, what
But they
do you
have
need?
a podcast together.
But they have this
All
podcast
three of
together.
them.
And they seem fine on the like. They're always talking about how like, yes, it was so bad, but now they have this beautiful friendship, and they've all come back together, and they were like pitted against each other during the show, and they've overcome it. Now they have this like female friendship.
But okay, should we? Oh, I'm not gonna interrupt. You are gonna get into like Joy and like her characteristics and like her life choices and her history,
which is important because it's part of it.
Yeah.
Sophia Bush is the one that's gay now. Right?
Sophia Bush is the one that's gay now.
She's with Ashlyn Harris.
She's with
a whole other drama for another episode.
Yes.
I know. I had thoughts on that too. We can go there later. But yeah, so and that's not like them being gay. There's not part, but like Sophia coming out is maybe part, or like just being gay is possibly part of it too. So Joy is super conservative. She like has always been really conservative. She's a conservative Christian. I mean, she's not like...
I heard a rumor that the reason that her character didn't have sex until marriage is because that's what Joy wanted.
Oh, that's interesting. I have not heard that. Could be. Could be. So, because like the producers used a lot of like their real lives in the show, and I would believe that she was like, I'm
Did she get married in high school or something?
She got married really young. She got married on the show. Oh yeah, she gets married, and that's the season finale of season 1 is they get married.
And what are they, sophomores?
I think
I don't think that's legal.
They're like 16.
Why would you?
Well, in the next season they have to like get her parents sign off on something. No. Like her parents. Oh no, they do a flash.
They move in together?
They do a flashback in season 2 where they show her parents like blessing this marriage and like signing off on something. I think is how they get around it. Because he had gotten emancipated.
That is a wild storyline.
Is that the? I know, and that is truly season 1. He eventually gets emancipated. I think that's actually maybe how they made this work. So he got emancipated, and then she got parental permission, and then they get married, and like.
And now he's her parental.
Horrible.
They don't talk about it like that. No. Maybe she gets emancipated too. They don't really. I don't know how we get around that part. I think it's fine because the parents signed off on it. Again, it doesn't matter.
Okay, fine.
But so that's her character. She's Haley on the show, and yeah, she's like kind of like the quiet, nerdy girl or whatever. And then they get married, and it's like this whole thing, and everyone's obsessed with it. But what were you gonna say?
Okay, so then say about Joy.
Oh, so Joy, what we've recently found out is Joy was in a cult the entire time that she was working on One Tree Hill. She was in like a religious cult called the Big Family, which I don't know a ton about. There's not a lot on the internet about it because it hasn't really like... No, she's the one blowing this up. Like, I don't think a lot of other people have really been talking about it, though I know other people have like gotten out of it. But like, she ends up married to so there's the head guy of the Big Family cult. I don't know, something Galliotti, because she marries his son. Oh. And that guy is bad. He's like bad news. I think he like has a lot of drug problems. Eventually, like, finally she gets out of the cult.
Is it Christian or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. So it started the way, I mean, so she has a book coming out about it, so she hasn't said like a ton of detail, but she's been giving hints, right? Like clips of it. So basically what happened is it started out as like a Bible study, and she was like, I think it was back when she was in LA, and she was like looking for, I think there's been like, not like super famous celebrities, but like, it's like, I think people in the acting community were in this cult. Sure. And she was like looking for, like similarly minded Christians in the community to have like a Bible study with. And then somehow it escalated. Like she was like living in a house.
It's scary to be a Christian in LA.
Apparently.
Yeah.
This is what apparently happened. So there was like, literally like a big house. And she like lived in this house with all these other people. And ends up married to like the head guy's son, and then they have a child. And I think when she has a kid, she like has this baby, and I think she's starting to be like, wait a second, and like, I don't know, somehow like really like clicks something for her, and she's like, okay, wait, and like I think when she's like maybe 1 or 2 or something, she decides to get out, and like she leaves the son and whatever, and she just like
leaves her child.
No, she takes her child and she leaves the husband, who like the son of the head guy, and eventually I think he like overdoses. I mean, it's just like very sad, right? But like. Yeah. The son dies. That's later on. But, damn. And it was like after they were divorced and stuff. But I think he just had a lot of, I think he struggled a lot.
Well, sure. I mean, bad setup.
Mm-hmm. But so this is how, nobody knows this. She like pretty much breaks it on the podcast, on the Drama Queens podcast. She like admits to it because like, and it makes a lot of sense because when you're listening, I'm not super caught up, but when I was first listening to the podcast, there's so much, she's like, really weird. She's like, I don't remember anything really, and I was just like so separated from everybody, and so she's like hinting at it, but she's so vague in the first couple of seasons of the podcast. You're like, why doesn't she remember anything? And it's because I think she was going through this really traumatic thing, and I think all the cast pretty much knew. She said at one point one of them was straight up like, are you in a cult? And she was just like, and she's like, and my thought was that I was so sad for this person that they like couldn't understand like this
you
like
ask
community.
Them if they're in a cult. What are they gonna say? Yeah, like
right. Oh yeah, I'm in a cult and I'm happy. Whatever. So that's her backstory. She's like in this very she's like, I mean, for the most part, it seems like she's socially like a little more liberal, but I don't know. There's been a lot of allegations that she's like transphobic and like this. So it's like why? So basically like the kind of thought is that the feud, like the sane part, the sane thought about why they're having this feud is that something happened and like Hillary was kind of just like last straw. Like she, I think they probably like privately like butted heads a lot on politics and like Joy's not very outspoken. Like she's pretty quiet about it. And like Hillary and Sophia are super loud about it, which whatever, but I think finally something happened. And people are always like, oh, maybe she's like mad on like Sophia's behalf because like Sophia is queer and like maybe because it's all like not totally around the same timeline, but like this is all happening after like Sophia's come out. And
this
so
is
it's like
probably a same situation as Molly Ben, where it's like there's some other third option that we just
there's
can't
something we just
know about.
will never know about, and like Sophia is maybe tied to it, maybe not. I don't know, but it seems to mostly be Hillary and Joy. Fans figured out that like Hillary and Joy aren't following each other. They're both
Instagram's following is always the way we find out.
It's always the way.
No
one knows when that happened.
Just hide the story.
I know.
They're
And
just
like,
too petty, and I get that.
Sure. It is like, I mean, there's a lot of pettiness, it seems like, in this one. So they both unfollow each other. They both still follow Sophia, and Sophia follows everybody. Okay. So it seems like Sophia is just like in the middle, but she's best friends with Hillary. So it's like, for sure she's more on Hillary's side. And like, they just are more aligned ideologically.
Okay, so then did anyone ask what of James and Chad are on this reboot, or no one cares?
Yeah, no, people are asking them too.
Okay.
And neither of them have confirmed either. Well, so there's this whole thing where like Chad is like, people are like, oh, Chad's definitely not going to be on the show, and like Chad is always kind of in like like these people are super integrated into like One Tree Hill. But yeah, I think he just has always been like really positive about the show, so I don't really see why everyone's like he's definitely not going to do it. I think maybe he would. And also these people are being like, it's super early on in the like talks about this, so everyone's being really non-committal because they're like, well, who knows what the show's even going to be, and blah blah blah. But it is like no one has fully signed on except for these two yet.
As long as it's a real reboot with the same characters, as opposed to like an L word, like we're gonna bring a whole new generation and just have some of the older ones. Just like I don't either. And I think a lot of the fans are like, you have a different opinion.
Well, I
also don't want that.
Q is awesome because like we have enough time with those other characters, and they're still integrated and they're still doing stuff. In One Tree Hill, that would be insane because like I don't care about the next generation in some random small town or whatever.
Right.
Like it was like, oh, this is like a micro generations and queerness and different things happen, and it's cool to see them interact in this small town. I would just assume.
I think they would just do the same thing.
Right.
It's like after all.
You're right. Maybe the L word was probably the best way they could do it.
I mean, good lord.
I just want them to write a little differently. Like, don't be so pandering to like current politics in your writing.
Yeah.
Like, I know the L word was problematic as fuck, but like maybe take a middle ground.
Well, it's like the L word was problematic, but also it had characters who weren't inherently likable, which is, I think, important.
That's the thing. They want everyone to be in therapy, and I'm like, no.
Right. I mean, I'm so happy for Bet that she's doing better now, but not Bet, Tina. No, Bet. I'm so happy for Bet that she's doing better now, but they need energy like that, like just like high powered, like
that's why
behavior.
the character I love that no.
oh right, okay. Different.
Well, I was gonna say I love Jenny.
Wow. That's a way to end that.
Deranged. Okay.
What a way to end that word segment. I mean, y'all can keep going.
No. Good instincts.
Everyone clipped the audio saying that.
Okay. So basically, like, they're feuding and everyone's like, oh, what's going on? Because, like, again, none of us would have known any of this if, like, the reboot hadn't come out and then they found out the unfollowing. And there's this, like, unhinged theory on Instagram or on social media that the reason they're feuding is because Hillary is mad at Joy because her like new book cover looks too similar to Hillary's book cover from her book like 2 years ago. And so now she's mad at Joy, and that's the cause of the feud, which is insane and so petty. And just like, there's no way. I just refuse to believe it.
See.
But, well, I mean, they are similar because it's just like them in like a circle and then the name. But that's like a common
Hillary One Tree Hill book cover.
Yeah, I mean, look them up and see what you think. I'm like, yes, they're similar, but also there's probably like 10,000 books that are memoirs that look like that.
Okay.
Why does that look like it's like...
It's this?
Like it's like...
What?
Oz.
Like, yeah.
It's like kind of witchy. It's like grimoire.
Okay, so
Something.
that's Hillary's?
Okay.
That's
That's
Hillary's
Hillary.
book.
Does she have
That
gray
came out-
hair?
Yeah, she
Okay,
well,
yeah.
she dyes it a lot, but she does
What's-
have like her
what's the
hair.
other one?
I saw a picture and it looked cool.
It's called Dinner for Vampires, which I mean,
What?
I'm gonna read
So
that. I
then,
want
that
to
makes
know.
sense. Hers is witchy and hers is vampires?
Do they have the same publisher?
No idea.
Okay,
Probably
yeah,
not.
they are
They're-
wildly
They're
similar.
very similar.
Okay,
aesthetic.
but like, I'm sure if you look that up, you could find
That's
a
weird.
Who are you
million other.
defending in this story?
Neither. I'm
Which one
defending
was
that
second?
this. Joyce was second.
I mean,
So
they-
It's
everyone
not their
thinks that.
fault, but it is
Also
a
true.
copy.
Everyone is mad, or everyone thinks that Hillary's really mad about this, and that is like maybe the final straw, and she just had all these other things, and she's like,
It'd be
I'm
weird
done.
thing to be mad about,
Publishers
though.
have
I
these
think
books.
so too. I think it's petty. I just feel like there's got to be something else, because that's
No,
like.
I just think the publisher did it on purpose because they're both on the same show.
Yeah, now
It's like,
Sophia's will be next.
Wait, is
and
it the
it'll be,
same publisher?
purple.
I want to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, they don't
So
have the
there
same
we go.
publisher.
I just think it's. I mean, maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe it's coincidence. Either way, that's a stupid reason to end a friendship.
Maybe they
I
did
think.
it an AI cover, and AI knew they were related.
I mean,
Maybe.
I really like
Maybe.
both of these covers actually. For a celebrity memoir
I was actually
cover,
surprised. I thought it was gonna be boring and like them
No, they're-
in like a kind of just like a contemporary photo. or
Oh,
whatever.
sure. No, I mean, I think they're both fine, and like, who cares?
I kind of want to read The Dinner for Vampires.
Oh, definitely. I
That
want to
one
read
seems more
that. It comes
interesting out of
out
the two.
soon.
Yeah.
Not to be like promoted, but it comes out. I think like
Oh, is this
sometime this
her?
month.
She's pretty.
Link in the bio.
Who Joy?
I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Joy.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
But the only foundation they have for this, which honestly fine, is that Hillary posted something I think on Twitter that said.
Gosh.
Imitation is not the highest form of flattery, it's just annoying. And so this is everybody's like evidence, which like
That's evidence.
I mean fair.
I think that's.
I feel like you give the benefit of the doubt a
You
lot.
got I mean
I think that's
I
definitely.
think it's
part
what
of
else
it.
is she doing? I mean or she's not, whatever. But like even if it's true, it's just dumb. Like really you're gonna end your entire friendship because your book
wouldn't.
covers are very similar. It just seems so bratty.
It
So I
does.
feel like there's got to be something else going on, and I think
Sure.
it's probably some kind of like ideological differences, and like she's just had enough. So whatever. Let's just say we don't know why they're feuding, but it's very clear, and so it was pretty much confirmed by Joy because now she's doing like a book tour, right? So she's doing press ahead of the release, and she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast,
My fave.
and what's her name?
So we
Alex.
get all the tea.
Who's the host? Alex.
I think so.
Okay.
Alex Cooper.
Yes.
I've only seen like.
Just like straight up asked Joy. She was like interviewing her about the book, and she's like, okay, well, let's just talk about this too, because like it's all over the internet that you're feuding with Hillary, and like, do you want like have anything to say? Do you want to say it? And she was like, she pretty much confirmed it, but in a really vague and I think just like kind of fine way. She was like, I
Alex
really
Cooper's
love
good at getting the tea,
Hillary.
but she needs to press a little further and follow up
Yeah,
questions. Same
because
with
I
the
mean,
Katy Perry interview.
this was based. There's like 5,000 articles about this, and it says nothing. So Joy is just kind of she's like, oh, I love Hillary. She's like, there have been some bizarre misunderstandings that like I hope we can clear up one day, but I love that girl. And this is like
she
a
thinks
2
I
sentence
hate all
thing.
gay people, but I only hate trans people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that's all she says about it, and everyone's
I
like,
just hate the ones who pretend that they're a different thing than what they're born of. And I try to tell her that.
exactly. So confirmed,
I'm a
but
trans
like there's
person.
no
That's a
other.
fine joke. In case it's not obvious.
But that's pretty much it.
Camera.
But now everyone's also reporting about how apparently Joy had a feud with Sophia Bush back in the day during the One Tree Hill days. And again, I read like 4 articles
They
and
were
there
young,
is
but they
no
always-
information.
oh.
Well, like she also just says these vague things that make no sense about but it was when she was in the cult. And basically she was saying like me and Sophia were really good friends at the beginning of One Tree Hill. But like the deeper I got into the cult, I like wasn't possible for me to continue being friends with Sophia because something about the way
She
she
drank
behaved
dairy.
as a woman in the world was like against how like she believed, she was being told women or something. It's like very vague. It seemed bad
This poor thing.
because she was being brainwashed, right? So then they were feuding for most of the show, and I think that led to some other like there's a lot of like back like drama in One Tree Hill, but it's really kept under wraps. Like everyone knows it was there, but no one really understands the players.
Okay. Any last thoughts on this one?
I don't think so.
I mean, I have a sort of a problematic thought, which is that we don't know exactly Joy's political affiliation. She doesn't talk about it, right?
No.
But we sense
I mean, she like,
conservatism.
it's kind of general. Like she's very like pro women. Like she's kind of like again. I think she's like socially fine.
We don't know.
Well, I don't know. She follows some problematic Instagram accounts, I think, is the other thing people have dug up.
Nazi type,
No.
I'm
Like
just how far?
transphobic. It's like there's one that's like
Well,
gays against grooming or something.
what?
It's like sounds, but then you go in and it's like it's not good. It's
bad.
not good in there.
Well,
It's like
okay.
it's a little like anti-drag queen. It's just like
God.
transphobic shit.
Yeah, okay, that's bad. I was gonna say something like if she came out of like a cult context and like she's just getting used to thinking for herself and deciding for herself.
She's been out of the cult for a while.
Okay.
Like
And
that
she's like,
is probably when
she's
was
been
like,
friends with these people since she was very young, so it's not like
Yeah.
she's not exposed to normal people with different thoughts.
You're right,
yeah.
Kirby. You're right. She should not follow those accounts. Okay.
All right. So
that's One Tree Hill.
That's good drama.
That was good drama. Very niche. Okay, on to the final drama, which I call Phoebe Bridgers and a very messy dating history.
Phoebe Bridgers is a famous musician.
True. And so, okay, well, I'll just start. I'm going to go in order of my notes. How did I get here? Why am I telling this story? So, I'm minding my own business. I'm on the FOMOA subreddit. Does anyone have tea? That thread, remember?
Yes.
It's a very popular thread, and you can like post a celebrity, and then people will tell you the tea on that celebrity. So, through that thread, I'm going to read some comments. Okay, user 1 said, Connor Oberst, who's the lead singer of Bright Eyes, / Phoebe Bridgers. Someone posted Connor is single now because his latest album has a lot of references to Phoebe. She seems to be happy with Beau for the time being from the little she's seen in public, ... User 2. Allegedly, she first cheated on Paul with a former boyfriend before she left him fully for Beau. I've always assumed that was Connor. Okay, so we're saying Connor Oberst, Bright Eyes, Paul Mescal, the guy who runs away in the park.
She dated Connor Oberst first. I didn't know
Favorite
that.
on this podcast.
We'll get to the timeline of everyone she's
Okay,
dating,
okay.
but this is setting up the story.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then that person said that about the cheating, blah blah. User 1 then says, so allegedly cheated on Marshall with Ryan, got back with Marshall, cheated on him with Connor, cheated on Connor with Paul, in parentheses, plus all the other stuff with that one producer, but we don't know if that was cheating or everyone was cool with it. Then cheated on Paul with Connor, then also cheated on Paul with Beau. Now she's with Beau. that comment was like,
What?
holy fuck, what a ride. I need to read more about this.
It was Marshall.
I know, we'll get there. Okay, back to user 2. I think she was in an open relationship with Connor at some points, although she admitted to basically having a full relationship with PJ Vogt while with Connor too, which he wasn't aware of. So now we've added another character to this. And then that person said in parentheses, reading between the lines of various online tapestries. Then I'm really alert. I'm like, PJ Vogt is brought into this story.
Yeah, totally.
Who's PJ Vogt?
Okay, PJ Vogt is a really famous podcaster.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
for a podcast.
For a podcast, yeah, okay. We'll get more into talking about them, but I'm just gonna finish the conversation. Then a third user comes in and says, PJ Vogt thought she was gonna leave Paul for him, in parentheses, LOL, and then saw the photos of her with Beau, and then he told a girl about it on a first date. Messy all around.
Wow.
Like, how many people
I'm already lost.
I'm really lost.
Already
I'm
lost.
still following. We need a chart.
This is the point. I'm gonna dive deep into all of this.
Okay.
This is just what sparked my interest.
Okay, so listeners, if you're like, I can keep up, that's the point. You're supposed to be lost in a
We're all
swirl.
supposed to be confused. Yeah.
Someone then asked more about PJ and Phoebe, and user 2, the original user 2, responded, it was all in the court documents.
What?
That the guy who sued Phoebe made public. He's an asshole. So don't want to share here, but I did look out of curiosity a while back.
Wait, so now there's also another guy who like is suing Phoebe.
For dating a lot of people?
Like, can you do that?
I don't think so.
That'd be a
I know.
mess.
I mean,
Could you imagine lawsuits all day?
How you guys are feeling now is how I felt reading this up. It's just like, what the
Did she
fuck?
even
There's so many
date?
pieces to this puzzle.
Did she date the guy who's suing her?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
So then completely new user, just because I thought this part was important too. I heard from someone that the end of her relationship with Paul was completely strange. Like, she basically ghosted him instead of officially breaking up, and he was still trying to salvage/contact her when she started stepping out with Bo Burnham, which is really sad, but also, I just want to say, kind of funny because he's known for ghosting women in the park, which he did respond to in a very funny way that him and his family laugh at that.
Or his mom is upset by it.
His mom is upset by it.
Well, it's his
She's like, this is terrible that people think this about you. And he's like, Mom.
It could be so much worse.
Yeah.
That's like kind of fun.
Also,
Think about
like,
Phoebe Bridgers' mom.
Think about Phoebe Bridgers' mom.
Seriously. Okay, so then first I was just like, the first part I latched on to was like, okay, PJ vote, because I'm not going to go into details, and we can cut this if you want to.
Oh, because I'm sort of convinced I can become friends with PJ Vogt.
No!
Oh.
That's not why.
Well, sure, why not? Just
Well, I
you live in
don't know,
Chicago?
I just feel like we'd get along.
Okay,
But I also know he's problematic for reasons I don't necessarily agree with.
okay. The reason, we'll get into that. The reason I was like, how is this possible is because you told me inside
Oh, we
tea.
cannot.
I'm not going to say details.
Wait, about PJ Vogt?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
well,
not-
offline, can I
Just
know?
let me say what I'll say and we can cut it if we
Okay,
get.
okay.
You told me inside tea about him being in a relationship with someone else, so I'm not going to say who it is. And it would have been during this time span, except for maybe the first part of the timeline.
Okay, yeah.
So that confuses me. And I was like, I need to dig and see if this is true because it doesn't make sense from the inside tea I have. And that's all I'll say.
Okay,
I won't
okay. Fine.
say
That's
anymore.
fine. Yeah.
Okay, well,
But it's nice to
I wanna
say that we
know-
have inside
Yeah,
tea.
we do.
I want to know more about that later offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know this person, but now I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I love insider
and
tea.
I'll have you say a story in a second.
Okay.
But okay. So then I go into this phase. My research verifying that she dated PJ. This is the hardest one to find evidence of. But from Googling, I can only verify that Phoebe and PJ were friends, but that doesn't mean much. The only places where I see that they were dating are like from random tweets and Reddit posts. But here's some things that I did find. In June 2020, she said in an NPR interview, she was like, feel like I have strong opinions weakly held, Phoebe Bridgers tells NPR.
Oh, same.
And then she says, actually, it's stolen from a journalist buddy of mine, PJ Vogt. He said that to me once, and I was like, oh no, you see me. It was horrible. So that's like one of the only times where she's referenced him. There's other times. Like, it's clear they were friends for sure. In February 2022, someone tweeted, choosing to believe Phoebe Bridgers broke up with PJ Vogt because he's anti-union.
PJ Vogt isn't anti-union.
I agree.
He made a mistake.
So for Meagan, do you know the story?
Nope.
Okay.
Just brief.
Brief. Okay, so PJ Vogt and what's the other guy?
Alex Goldman.
Alex Goldman had this really famous podcast called Reply All, which which was in this other media company called Gimlet Media.
Okay,
And
I've heard of
It was by far the most successful
I've
podcast
heard
at Gimlet Media.
I've heard of Gimlet Media.
Okay.
I think I've even heard of that podcast. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have some context.
And so it was like the most popular podcast in this media company.
Okay.
So then people started organizing to unionize because the conditions at Gimlet were apparently...
But also, it got bought by Spotify before this.
Okay. So conditions at Gimlet were not great.
Yeah, sure.
And they were trying to improve things. But conditions for the people who were working at Reply All were maybe a little better because they had
They're
more
like
power.
The top of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so the people who were unionizing originally didn't even include the people who in Reply All in their sort of talks or whatever because I'm not really sure why, but basically they didn't think they'd be allied because they were like they're too close to the management. And so then eventually it came to light like we're trying to unionize and the people at Reply All found out about it and they were not receptive at first and that was a mistake. Like that's just not solidarity. Like
Yeah.
they were, I mean, possibly I could understand on a human level being feeling kind of miffed and mad that everyone else had been doing something that you've been left out of. I don't know if that's why they were mad, but if I was mad, that's why I would have been mad. I would have been like, why? I would have felt blindsided and kind of like pushed to the side. But I don't know that I think probably that I have no reason to believe that is or isn't how they felt. So they're like organizing, and one of the people who was organizing is this person I really, really like, named Eric something. Eric Eddings. I hope I'm right about, I believe it was him. But he had this really, definitely, because it was Gimlet. He had a couple really good podcasts, and I also just, he seems like, again, like my relationships with these people are totally parasocial, but they both just seem so reasonable. I don't know. So he was really involved in the organizing because he's working at Gimlet Media.
Okay.
So apparently, things come to light that they're organizing it for whatever,
Sure.
better conditions, and the Reply All folks, PJ included, are like not supportive, and they're like not cool about it. They like think
The Reply All.
Yeah, they do not lend their power in support of this,
Which
and
cool.
which isn't cool. I mean, look, we're a pro-union family here. Like, obviously, we're on the side of the worker, and yeah, they just were like, I guess, thinking in terms of their own self-interest or something.
Sure.
And they're like, we don't get,
We're fine.
So, and then, eventually though, they changed their minds. But that was later. Like, at first they were kind of jerks, I think, is the idea. Or like, I don't know if jerks is, they weren't supportive. And then, eventually they changed their mind. And they're like, actually the union is the right idea, etc. What they didn't, something that was happening with the union was for everyone. But there were a lot of like younger people of color in the union, and that was like part of why they felt like they weren't being treated as well in the company is like these like, not explicit but implicit biases.
Sure.
And they were like, that's part of why we need this extra protection. And they felt like, and like PJ did not clock that, or that's the idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, and also Alex, whatever his name is. And then there was this whole thing that happened at Bon Appetit with Allison Roman. Do you remember this?
No, maybe.
Okay.
Keep going.
You can say it in like one sentence.
Okay. Allison Roman is a very famous chef who got like a lot of who came out of Bon Appetit.
Okay.
And people felt like she got a lot of opportunities because she was a white woman cooking foods from like a bunch of non-white cultures.
Yeah.
And
She was like the COVID breakout star.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Too.
And so people felt like, and it wasn't like it's wrong for her to be cooking this food, or maybe some people think that, but none of the chefs, I don't think that. But they were like, she's getting a lot of credit, basically more credit than anybody else, and maybe because she's like a white woman or whatever. So they were doing a story about that. Okay. Reply All was. And then there was like a tweet storm from this guy, Eric Eddings, and he was like, this is really painful to me that Reply All is doing this story about people of color being pushed aside in the workplace because that happened at Gimlet. Okay. We were trying to unionize. Reply All wasn't in favor, all of this stuff. But then, so he said that. But he also said in the tweet storm, like, PJ told me last time I saw him that I was right about the union and that he changed his mind. So I don't know if Eric was trying to do this thing where PJ got pushed. I don't think Eric was trying to kill Reply All, but that's what happened.
Oh.
Well. Like, they were in the middle of this thing. They did one episode. Shruti Pimnini, who's like...
a producer for Reply All.
Yeah. They talked about it in the episode. They're like, there's been people who say this series, like, we should examine the way we did things at Reply All, and we're going to talk about it in the next episode, which actually sounded really interesting. And then it never finished. They just Reply All just became over.
Wow.
Well, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
PJ and Shruti left.
And then it died.
Yeah.
And they didn't finish the Bon Appetit series either. Like, they never had the conversation. Oh. And I think it was not because of what Eric did, but because of like the weight of like the weight of, I mean, he was starting a conversation, which they answered, which like could have happened in the public sphere, but then there was just like this massive like weight of like cancellation energy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that fell on it. And
like
I do just wonder, like, did they need to leave? Maybe they.
I think
maybe
PJ had like.
He had like a mental breakdown.
Yeah. So maybe he did need to leave.
Yeah, for his mental health.
For his mental health, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was just so that you can know what's going on with PJ.
We went way off with PJ boat, but that was all very interesting.
And
I just feel really sad
and someone
about
tweeted
it.
that they were choosing to believe that Phoebe Bridgers broke up with PJ because he's anti-union, which is not true.
Not true.
Yeah, as we know. Okay, we have to move on. But thank you for telling that entire
I feel
thing.
depressed.
Oh.
No, we'll lift you up. Don't worry.
Yeah. There's so many mysteries to unravel still.
Okay, so then let's move on to Phoebe Bridgers' dating history timeline, because I was like, all right, I just want to put a timeline of who she dated when, and then I put in blue on this document if it's more just like a rumor, but just only 2 of them, and this is the PJ related ones. Everything else is pretty solid, okay? So, and this is just for us to get more context. In 2014, she dated Ryan Adams. That's super famous. She wrote,
I didn't know that.
she was 20, he was 40. She wrote, Motion Sickness about him.
Oh, okay.
You sing with a British accent.
Yeah.
And she has come out and later came out and accused him of emotional abuse and like stepped forward with like 9 women who did that. And when researching this, I accidentally clicked on a Ryan Adams subreddit about it, and good lord. It was, the question was, is Ryan responsible for Phoebe Bridgers' fame? And then it like goes on about her complaints / smear article like helped her career and get famous, and all the comments are like so mean about her. Like anything that can get her free press and advance her career, she'll sign up for. Blah blah blah. Like,
ooh,
she's playing the female warrior card. If it's good for the bottom line, like these people
there were a lot of other women that came out against Ryan Adams too. Are we
it
like
was
dragging
9 total.
all of them?
Yeah.
Man, any pro man corner of the internet.
I know,
is
and
bad.
I like got there so by accident. I was like,
and you're like,
shocked.
oh no.
Yeah, it's always so bad, and it's like that is the part where the anonymity of the internet really unnerves you, because you're like, wait, who are I hope these are not people I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
Ooh.
Okay, so that was 2014. That's her first note in public relationship when she was 20. So, 2015/2016, she was with Marshall Vore. We did talk about Marshall and above, who was her drummer. They had a tough breakup she talked about it, but they did end up salvaging their friendship. So they're really close friends. 2018/2019, she's linked with with Emily Bannon. Okay, so that's Emily Bannon. I guess
Like a little gay.
she's in the music industry. This one's interesting, and this will get to the lawsuit.
Oh, I'm interested.
Oh, even better.
But I feel like I should just keep going with the order of the time.
Alienation
Yeah.
of affection? No, okay.
There's a guy named Chris Nelson who used to date Emily Bannon before Phoebe, and he's the one who sued her, but we will get into that.
Ooh, good. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so it's early 2019 to at least maybe August 2020, she was with Connor Oberst, who is the lead singer of Bright Eyes.
I think Phoebe Bridgers is so pretty. I'm not surprised.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah,
And also,
cool
if you
dudes.
want to like get into ASMR, that's like hair play type stuff. There's a really big ASMR girl for that who does plays with brushes
Picturing a
Phoebe
different
Bridgers'
person.
hair and stuff, and it's so good. And
Wow.
she's so pretty, so it's nice to watch. So I recommend it. Okay, so then that was Connor. So then June 2020. Now this is in blue because I don't know, but maybe this is when all the quotes about her and PJ being friends were around June 2020. So I'm like, maybe she briefly dated PJ in June 2020, and then July 2020 to sometime in fall to winter 2022, she was with Paul Mescal, and it's heavily rumored that they got engaged in 2022. Wow. And then in blue again in fall 2022. This is only from that one Reddit user who said PJ thought she would leave Paul Mescal for him, but really she left Paul Mescal for Bo Burnham.
Wait, in blue. This is in blue.
Yeah, and PJ
Okay.
told that to someone on a first date, allegedly.
Oh my god. That's
Goofy. Kind of.
Yeah.
So and then December 2022, there's that photo that she posted on Instagram where she's kissing Maddie Healy from the 1975, but Bo Burnham has his arm around both of them and is behind them. At this point, we still thought Phoebe and Paul were still together. The only reason I have it on the timeline that they broke up in fall is because I now know what ended up happening. But maybe they broke up in the winter, or maybe she didn't really broke up with him, she just ghosted him. I don't really know. These are all just rumors, but that photo, people hate Maddie Healy, so that really sparked a lot of.
That's the Taylor Swift person.
Yes. And Phoebe is friends with Maddie Healy. I wonder if that's how Taylor and Maddie met.
They've met a really long time ago. We don't need to
She liked him a long
Like,
time
we do
ago.
this.
She liked him a long time ago.
go.
Maybe
We
that's
did not.
reconvene,
This
though.
is yeah, could be, because he was also friends with Lucy
Dacus.
Dacus, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Again,
Lucy hates Maddie. She tweeted about it.
but she used to be friends with
Okay.
him, and I think. But no, this has been heavily covered. We don't need to go down the Taylor Swift.
Okay, yeah, we can't. And then, so then we know in January 2023, that's when Beau and Phoebe are officially seen as a couple.
Okay.
So, and that's, to this day, no one, other than someone being like, oh, is Connor back with Phoebe? He's singing about her. To this day, all we know is that Phoebe and Beau are still together. Like, we know nothing else. So, that's the timeline that I got. Now let's move on to the lawsuit. Okay, so Chris Nelson sues Phoebe Bridgers for defamation for $3.8 million.
3.8?
And now I have a Reddit post
Specific.
that summarizes it. Okay, I'm not going to say it all, but I'm going to try and get it. It's on the Depp Delusion subreddit, which is one of the ones that I look at quite often. But it's basically people who hate Johnny Depp.
Oh.
But they post about other people sometimes if they feel like it's related. Like this person said, I thought this belonged here because it seemed to fit the Depp playbook so perfectly. So, to summarize, in 2020, Phoebe Bridgers posted a statement on Instagram in support of her friend and producer, Chris Nelson's ex, Emily Bannon. She wrote, I witnessed and can personally verify much of the abuse, in parentheses, grooming, stealing, violence, in parentheses, perpetuated by Chris Nelson, which then prompted Nelson to sue the singer for maliciously and intentionally attempting to destroy his reputation. So he's a music producer, I guess, but I feel like he's not that famous. So he accused Phoebe and Emily of having a sexual relationship, which is likely true, and concocted a revenge plot against... Oh, no, he accused them of concocting a revenge plot against him. The defamation case was dismissed in November 2022, and he had to pay Phoebe $500,000.
Dope.
Yeah. But he's continued to rage against her for years.
Okay, now you're just admitting you did it.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you act like a lunatic.
Clearly, he's...
Keep going.
He's made a website which apparently contains text DMs and parts of Phoebe's deposition. He has a documentary that he created.
He self-produced it and funded
And then
it.
someone posted this on Reddit that they saw. So it's his documentary. This is on the Indie Circle Jerk subreddit. And the title is I Can't Sleep Because I've Been Laughing Too Hard at This. For context, Phoebe Bridgers' defamation guy, they don't even say his name, has been posting a short documentary of her deposition in the lawsuit. Apparently, he also rented a video billboard truck and posted the above image on it and put it on his Instagram.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What a lunatic.
And so you can see the picture of the truck. It says, sorry, let me read it and I'll show you. It says, it's a picture of Phoebe, like, but really zoomed in on her face and her mouth is kind of open, like, in a, like, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. And it says, inside Phoebe Bridgers.
What's the guy's name? I'm just going to look it up while you look it up.
Portrait of a female sociopath.
Oh my God.
And then he tagged Bo Burnham in it on the Instagram story.
Wait, so this is recent?
Psychotic. Yes,
Oh
he's
my God.
harassing her.
Wait, and he sued her when?
He's probably gonna get in a lot of trouble with
Yeah,
this.
like, are you asking to pay more money to
Yeah,
Phoebe?
Yeah,
Because
man, seriously.
Sir, you are...
Okay,
now you're going to get a defamation lawsuit.
Also, like, you are
I did
never...
see it.
Or
Never mind.
harassment.
No one will ever date you ever again, which is maybe good. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy is,
maybe
like,
good.
nothing
It's
but
like,
a red flag.
let's
like,
put ourselves out on a billboard of how crazy we actually
Yeah.
are, and then no one will date us.
Okay, the good thing is that this is the end of my notes. So now that we know all this, let's go back to the original comments, right?
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Or do you want to talk more about the lawsuit?
No,
No,
I processed it.
I don't think we need. Hope no one ever talks about this man ever again, and he just fades. So
Yeah,
into
fair.
obscurity.
I mean, what a bananas... What a way to
What a
just
tantrum.
act
Just
like
a full
nut.
tantrum.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so user 1. She allegedly cheated on Marshall with Ryan. So it's Marshall Vore, the
drummer.
drummer. But I thought they were together
thought they were
after
Ryan.
Maybe they were together
They were,
before
like,
and
children.
after.
How are y'all tracking? This is
What do you mean?
never mind. Keep going.
Got back with Marshall. Okay, see.
Okay.
So I guess she was.
She
I
was
should have put it on the
dating him
timeline.
first,
She's
and
with
then
Marshall,
she left
then
him for
Ryan,
Adam,
and then
or
Marshall
Ryan.
again. Cheated on Marshall again with Connor, who she did get with
Oh,
next.
Marshall.
But I don't know if all these cheatings are real. This is a Reddit commenter. Let's.
It's just if it's true, poor Marshall. So.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an open relationship.
And then she's
Maybe.
with Connor. Cheated on Connor with Paul. When was the PJ? confusing. Plus all the stuff with that one producer. I'm like,
I thought all
that's
that...
more with Emily.
Yeah.
Also, there's a song by Boy Genius called "I'm Sorry, Emily."
Oh, I love that song.
That's about Emily.
Oh.
But I don't know why Phoebe's sorry. I couldn't get to the bottom of that.
Well, probably things just ended between them.
But she made it seem like she did something.
Or did she cheat
Well.
on Emily with somebody?
Yeah, because they're saying that she cheated on Connor with Paul, but I think Emily was in between. Hold on, let me go back to the timeline. Emily was...
I like that song.
Oh, no. Emily was before Connor. Okay.
Before Connor the first time, before Connor the cheating time?
So what's interesting is that she cheated on Marshall with
Let
Connor.
this wash over me as an invitation.
So what's interesting is this user is saying she cheated on Marshall with Connor, but Emily was in between Marshall and Connor. So I feel like they're misinformed because that can't be possible unless she cheated with Connor, then got with Emily, and then got with Connor. But that feels like unlikely. Right? Don't we agree? Let's just say she didn't do all these cheatings and people are just exaggerating her cheating.
Or if she did, like, okay, fine. Maybe it's not cheating. Maybe it's just like she tells guys, like, and women, like, you can be monogamous with
Right,
me.
maybe she's like, just like, I'm dating a lot of people.
I'm not monogamous, but not polyamorous. You know, some people are like, I'm in love with you, but I'm absolutely gonna play the field sexually because that's who I am.
Yeah. Okay, wait, so then let's...
at this point, she would know at least that it's the cost of doing business with her. You know, like, she could warn people. She could be like, listen, we can do monogamy in the sense of, like, we are together and you're my boyfriend or girlfriend, but I will have sex with other people.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so then cheated on Paul with Connor, so she did a throwback to Connor for a second, and then also cheated on Paul with Bo. That one I do kind of believe, because they were just such close friends while she was still with Paul, and then suddenly she was with Bo. I'm like, I could see that happening.
Sure. It could have been one of those, like, real gray area situations.
Yeah, and I don't know if we believe the person who said that she ghosted Paul. Like,
how does one ghost in this day and age?
Exactly.
Well, except this is the only day and age one ghosts. Well,
unless you take him to the park.
Right.
maybe that's
what
cheated to him and really just
God turned around.
Poor Paul.
Very re-traumatizing.
I don't think he'd be laughing that much about it then.
Sure.
Okay, I think she was in an open relation. User 2, I think she was in an open relation with Connor. Okay, see that?
There you go.
Which was admitted through the... Oh, wait. Which, at some points, although she admitted to basically having a full relationship with PJ Vogt with Connor too. Well, with Connor too. Okay, so that's open relationship. That's polyamory.
Yeah.
I'm sure PJ knew.
Or non-monogamy. It's not monogamy.
Yeah, whatever.
I
okay.
don't know.
And then
I
PJ thought he was going to leave Paul for him. That feels like a rumor. I mean, he said it on a first date. Do we believe it?
Well, no. People can say all kinds of things on a first date.
Right. Also, why would you say that on a first date?
Yeah, it doesn't make you sound good.
No.
Like, I've been obsessed with this girl, Phoebe, but
and here I am on a date with you,
on her
but...
while she was with Paul Mescal for 2 years.
Well, PJ's also kind of
I'd be
self-deprecating. So maybe it was like he was... I don't know. Maybe he did say it on the first date.
And then he realized, that, oh shit, she's actually with Bo because there's paparazzi photos. Okay, but no alleged cheating on Bo.
No, but he also was with somebody long term, right? Like, isn't there? Yeah. Do we know about that?
They were together for a million years, and she was, I think, significantly older than him.
Bo Burnham is the person who plays on the ukulele.
We don't know that there was. Okay, that's my question. Was there any like cheating?
Bo Burnham is the ukulele funny song.
Yeah, the new math guy.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, he's our same age.
He is our actual same age.
Wow. He's done so much in his life. Oh, in the 8th grade movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually was really good.
What is he doing these days?
I don't know. But he's a comedian, right?
Yeah, I think he does like stand-up tours.
I like how he, in his Wikipedia photo, he has one of those shirts without a collar. I want to start wearing this.
What do you mean?
What is a shirt without a collar?
It has a word for it.
Oh, like it has like a partial collar?
Yeah.
I think those look really nice.
Those are nice.
Okay, that's all I got for you guys.
You know, it's a lot.
Well, those are good.
All
right. Okay, well, we got another episode.
But okay, but I just want to say, she's like the person that you're like, when you're like young and you're like, this is who I want to be. Like, I want everyone to fall in love with me and it to be really fucking messy. She was living that dream.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. I think I did.
She is the manic pixie dream girl.
Except the manic pixie dream girl loves. She's like, the manic pixie dream girl is loyal. only loves the
Yeah.
the object of her affection.
True. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Which would not be the case.
She's like what's the other version?
Manic pixie, not.
She's a manic pixie.
Full stop. But I still love her.
Yeah, great
she's
music.
great.
And I love a messy dating history.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun. Those first Reddit posts are great.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all I
so
got.
what did we learn? What's the through line between these 3 internet niches?
Because the first 2 were more similar. They were about friendship breakups, and the last one was just. Well.
It's just, we'll never know the full story.
Yeah. Okay, so moral to the story is rumors on the internet are fun, but we can't take them too seriously? Or do we?
Or it's like, it's interesting that there's so much discourse surrounding these like little tiny niches, and it's like it's hyper specific. There's a lot of conversation to parse through about it, and everyone knows that we can't get the truth, so it's interesting how interesting it is.
I know, actually, I think this is the kind of drama is the most interesting to me because it's not being reported on some article, and that makes it like so much more like juicy for some reason. It's like, oh, we're the small amount of people who know this gossip because we are on this tiny corner of the internet and we figured it out. Or
Yeah.
It makes it
And you just gotta sleuth a lot.
like more fun than
It's
like
fun to
J-Lo
sleuth
and
it.
Ben, you know?
Right. Oof.
Who were seen kissing recently.
Wow. Good Lord. Wow. I wonder if it was a fake. Like, if they just were like, this is too much, let's fake our whole divorce. And then let's just get divorced, but then just be spiritually married.
Huh. That's a
The
take.
divorce hasn't gone through yet, has it?
Why would they do that? We don't need to go there.
Alright, I feel like this is a good note to end on. Well, okay, so here's some of the other things is that of how the internet's reacting. Some people think like, so there's been paparazzi photos of Jeremy Allen White and I almost say Claire and Molly recently, and the internet, like, I feel like normal people on the internet, like, oh, they're cute together, or there's Rosalia stans who are like being mean, and or there's Sid Carmi shippers who also ship Jeremy Allen White and Io who are being mean. Because of the one Cubs video where he's like, there's someone took a video of them at a Cubs game and he's like rubbing Io's back. They believe that something happened there. These people are delusional, by the way.
I've actually seen that video. It rose to the level that I saw it, And it did not look to me sexual, and in a way that made me disturbed that people would think of that as that kind of. I was like, okay, it looks like he was consoling her, or something.
Did she look like she had like have anxiety or something?
Right, that's the way you would touch someone if you're like, are you okay? And it's like that is the opposite of like a sexual touch, which is not to say you wouldn't touch someone you're in a romantic relationship with that way, but I was like, you guys, like, that's like a little nasty to be like. Well,
yeah.
And then the other way that the internet is reacting to Jeremy and Molly is like a lot of people in like FOMO will be like, oh wow, they have as much chemistry as their characters do, like, because they're paparazzi photos. I don't know. How can you tell chemistry from a paparazzi photo?
Also, that man looks the same in every paparazzi photo. So I was like,
he always looks rough. He looks quite rough.
Yeah.
Pretty much always. But yeah, okay, so we have no idea what happened, and that's
which I
what
take
this is.
personally, Kirby.
Okay, but you don't look like you've been smoking cigarettes for days and just like trying your best not to drink something. That's what he looks like.
Also, you're really giving more Adam Brody right now, I would say. Like,
Yeah,
Adam Brody
yeah.
and Nobody Wants This.
And
It's
he
like
looks
way
healthy.
more of your vibe. And he looks healthy and everyone's obsessed. I think you look way more like him.
I've heard that show is offensive to Jewish women. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I only watched like an episode and a half. But I still will watch it eventually, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was good. Sure. We don't have to go there.
Okay, so that's all we have here.